Okay, guys, welcome back. So this is a question someone shared with me, and I hope to be useful. Okay, people were asking about percentages. I hope this question helps out, and those who are asking about semi-variable, something like that. I hope this question helps us out. Okay, so without the waste of time, they're asking you to distinguish between a flexible budget and a fixed budget. Okay, and we're saying that the fixed budget is one which is prepared based on a projected or an expectation to meet a certain level of activity or demand. Okay, that is fixed budget. Whereas a flexible budget, we are saying, whereas it depends on a fixed budget for the costing of the units produced. We are saying that the flexible budget must match the level of activity as is in the actual performance, or in the actual performance of the business. So having said that, basically that's the difference between flexible budget and fixed budget. We can look at part B. Okay. Part B says the required bit wants you to classify the cost into semi-variable and variable and then fixed. Okay, classifying. Of course, this is important for obvious reasons, that when you're flexing the budget, we base on these items. Is the item semi-variable? Is it variable or fixed? So the class of the item shows you clearly how to treat that item. Okay, so without the waste of time, I'm just going to try to transfer specifically some of the information. Okay, maybe before I transfer the information, we're going to determine which one is variable, which one is non-variable. Okay, we have wages, consumables, stores, maintenance, depreciation, insurance, and power and fuel. I'm going to share that information in my worksheet. Pardon on the definition, please. For the definition is the one I'm giving you, the standard definition. I'm just trying to explain ideally. Okay, however, what I've said that. Okay, those are joining, please. Join you mute. If I will just answer your question, we have said that a flexible budget is, okay, start with a fixed budget. You're saying a fixed budget is one prepared, okay, one prepared with an anticipation or an expectation to meet a particular demand, okay, in terms of level of activity, of course, okay. So its items, basically the fixed costs, variable costs, and the semi-variable costs or items, they don't have to be costs because you can also have incomes. They are prepared based on that particular level of activity that you anticipated. Okay, that's a fixed budget. Now, a flexible budget, we say it is a modification or a better version of the fixed budget, which whose level of activity must be the same as the actual performance of the entity or the business. Okay, that's what we call a flexible budget. Okay, it bases on the fixed budget items, okay, to meet the level of activity or the actual level of activity. So that's how I would put it out. Okay, I know I've said so much. That's not a clear definition, but the key things that stand out, that one, under flexible, that the actual level of activity is the same as the level of activity under the flexible budget. The other thing that stands out is that information in the fixed budget is used in the flexible budget to determine either sales or expenses regarding the particular level of activity. Okay, that's the main things that stand out. For a fixed budget, it's all about the level of activity, first of all, is anticipated or is estimated. Okay, and therefore all these other items such as variable costs, fixed costs, and any other thing is dependent on that anticipated value in terms of level of activity. Okay, so back to the items that we are referring to. Okay, the items we have, okay, let me zoom. I hope you can see my screen. Okay, that's where I'm writing. So we have wages. Okay, and these are different level activities. So just to pull you back to the question, I won't be referring to this for some time. They were saying at a capacity of 60%, we have production of 600, and at 100% have 1,000. Okay, so I hope you get that. Okay, now back to our working. Saying here you have, I think I need that column. The capacity is 60%. And then 100%. Okay, then you have production. Yes, 600. Yes, 1,000. Then the items that we are referring to, the ones they're interested in, are the wages. Okay, for the wages, it is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, then 2,000. Is in the commas. So I've added the 3 zeros, which I would encourage you to always do. Okay, then consumable. Consumables. Maybe I should go one by a time. Okay, now how do I know that wages is a variable cost or not? Okay, this is how you do it. You compute trying to determine the cost per unit. Okay, you know that variable costs have cost per unit. Okay, now if you have the cost per unit of a particular item, it is variable if it is constant at all levels. Okay, how do I mean by that? The cost per unit, of course, is get the cost divided by the level of activity, isn't it? Cost per unit. It's gotten by the total cost itself, or the total cost divided by the level of activity. So here I have 2,000. So if wages is a variable cost, we are saying I must get 2,000 even at the activity 100. Can confirm. So say this divided by that. Okay. So where the variable cost is constant, as you can see, it's the same in both occasions. We're saying this is a variable item. Okay. But the cost total changes with the level in activity. All right. So that is for wages. I can go to now consumables. Okay, for consumables, we are saying that it's 900,000 and it is 1,500. Okay. So in the same way, we try to test for wages, we're going to do it for consumables. Okay. Come and say the cost divided by the level of activity. Okay. 600. Then here, the cost divided by the level of activity. What? 600. So still here, the cost per unit cost per unit. The consumable is constant at both levels, and therefore this must be a variable item. Okay, then you move on. You go to the next item, which have depreciation. Okay, no, maintenance first. Maintenance. Okay, I have maintenance here. For maintenance, they say that under 60%, you have 100. Okay, then you have 500. Okay, that is maintenance. So we test for variability or to see if it's variable. Okay, same thing. You're saying total cost divided by the level of activity will give us the cost per unit. Cost per unit. If the cost per unit is the same in both cases, you can see for this one that for this one they're not the same, they're different. Now, if they're not the same, we're saying this must be a semi-variable item. Okay, why is it semi-variable? We're saying, first of all, the total cost is changing. Okay, however, it's changing at different levels. However, the variable cost per unit or the cost per unit is also different at both levels. Therefore, this cannot be a variable item, but rather a semi-variable. Okay, that is maintenance. We can go to the next one, which is depreciation. So for depreciation, they say that it is 4,000. It is 4,000 at this level. It is still 4,000 at this level. For this one, you don't have to compute. Just see the costs are the same at different levels, meaning that this must be what? Okay, this must be fixed cost. So this cost doesn't change with change in level of activity. Okay, then we go to the next item. It is insurance, 1,000, 1,000. Still this one, as you can see, the costs are the same. And if they're the same, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to determine the cost per unit. This must be what? Fixed cost. It's not changing in any way. Okay. Then lastly, power and fuel. Okay. It's 1,600. It's 1,200. This is power. Fuel. Okay. So power and fuel, it has a very unique trend. It has a very unique trend. Is it? I think it's 2 million. I think it's the same. It's not unique. It's 2M. I was wondering why it is. Why it would reduce with increase in level of activity. It's like this. So still now here they're different. So you want to confirm whether it's variable or not, whether it's variable rather. So you, as usual, you determine the costs per unit. So in determining the cost per unit, we're saying it is this divided by the level of activity, which is 600. Okay. So in determining it, still you find that the variable cost or the cost per unit are not constant. So if it's not constant, we say this is what? Semi-variable. Okay. So this was the first task for you. Identify and classify these items. So clearly we are saying you have wages and consumables as variable costs. And then you have maintenance and power and fuel as semi-variable. And then you have depreciation and insurance as fixed costs. Okay, so that's part A. Can go to part B and see what they're saying. Part B, they're saying prepare a budget for capacity or for 80% capacity. Prepare a budget for 80% capacity. So here they're still asking you to flex. Okay. So let's see how we flex this now. Okay, I'll need this information. So let me just borrow it and edit it accordingly. Okay. So we need an 80%. Then this will not be helpful. I'm just going back to the original budget, the way it's supposed to be. Okay, so this is the budget. So what we're sure of is that these are fixed, then this is semi-variable. Okay, to help us to do a few things. Semi-variable. So maintenance is also semi-variable. And then these others are variable. So we are now going to flex. In flexing, 80%, the first thing you do is you want to determine the production at 80%. Okay, now that one has many ways of doing it. And we just go with the simplest one, which most of us are comfortable with, which is you will say 100% is equivalent to 1000. Okay, then you say, how about 80%? Equivalent to what? You don't know, means what? It's X. Then you cross multiply. So cross multiplying, we're saying it is X. Okay, 100% times X. It should be equal to 80% times 1000. Okay. So 100% is the same as what? It's the same as 1, not so. So 1 times X, you have X. So say X is equal to 80%, which is the same as 80 out of 100 times 1000. You don't have to do all this. You just have to just get the final answer. So X is going to be equal to, is it 800? Yeah, it's 800. So as simple as this. That's how you get your production. You say 800. Okay, you don't have to use 100. You can use even the 60. You have the same answers. You can try out that one also. So what if I'd use the first one? Someone would ask, did I get the same answer? I'm saying yes, because you say 60% gives me 600. Okay. How about 80%? It gives me X. Then you say cross multiply. Cross multiplying, we're saying it's going to be 60% times X. It's going to be equal to 80% times 600. Okay. Therefore, my 0.6, which is 60%, 0.6x is going to be equal to 80%, which is 80 out of 0.8, 0.8 times 600. Okay. Then I divide through by 0.6. Say x is equal to 0.8 times 600 divided by 0.6. Okay. Then x will automatically be what? 800. You can confirm, but you're going to get 800. So that's how you get these figures here. Pardon, please. Pardon on the second part. I'm saying, we are saying that if you want to determine the production at 80%, you already know these ones. You know that 60% you have 600. At 100% you have 1000. So I'm saying N that you use will be okay. So if we go with now, which one should I go with? Because we've already done both. Okay, let me repeat this one. Okay, we're saying that you come here and you say this one's not there yet. We're saying that at 100%, our production is what? 1000. We're saying at 80%, what we want. Our production, we're saying we don't know. So X. So we say you cross multiply. Cross multiplying means that X again dawagulu, then 89 again 80, something like that. But you've understood cross multiplying. So in cross multiplying, they're saying it's going to be 100% times X. Okay, that's cost the equal sign and that's gone up. Then 80% times 1000. I hope we are together on this first step. Cross multiplying. Just. Now here, the other thing is you can press your calculator, or you can, I think calculator is better. That 100% is the same as what? Same as 100 out of 100, which will be the same as 1. So I'm saying it is 1 times X. It should be equal to 80%. 80% is the same as 0.8, no? Over 8 out of 100. Okay. So whatever you do, it shouldn't be an issue here. Okay. Then you're saying 1 times X, you get X. So X is equal to 0.8 times 1000, you must get 800. You press the calculator. You don't have to do the math in the head. Press the calculator, you get 800. Okay, Esther and others, I hope I've answered you as far as that is concerned. So we continue. So the first task is to get the level of activity, which is this one in terms of units. Always units first. Now, after knowing your units, then you now come and begin officially. And the official thing is, if you know that this is a variable item, this is how you go about it. You determine the variable cost per unit, and then you multiply that unit times the new level of activity. Okay, so the per unit of wages, we saw that it is what? That you get 1.2 and divide by 600, and you get 2000. Variable cost per unit. We saw that is equal to 2000. 2000 or 20? Yeah, 2000. So we saw that is 2000. Now, once you know that this is variable cost is 2000, there's nothing to think about. You just get the variable cost multiplied by the number of units. So hence 2000 times the number of units, which are 800 now. That will be your flexing of variable cost. Okay, that's how we flex variable cost. Even consumables are going to do the same. Where is the question? I already shared it in the group, even on WhatsApp. I can share it here. Just for you. This is the question. 10A, then B. B wants you to compute, to classify, which I've just done. Then 2 is to prepare a budget for 80% capacity. Okay, and we're saying just flex. So these items, these figures here, they're the ones that I'm showing you the side in the budget. Okay, so let's go back therefore. We're going to reach, those who are asking what if it's the same variable, you're going to reach there because the next items down. Okay. Then consumables, you do the same thing. For consumables, a variable cost. Okay, that's why we need part A after all. Okay, so we're saying the variable cost per unit for this one is 900 divided by 600. I don't remember the answer we got. I can just get it here. 900 divided by 600. Got 1.5. So it's 1,500. Okay, this cost per unit. So you use, as usual, like I already told you, get the cost per unit, which is 1,500, times the number of units produced, which is 800. Okay, now this is for variables. So let's go to now the semi-variable. Now for semi-variable, we say semi-variable because it has a component of fixed cost and a component of variable cost. Okay, so a semi-variable, a typical semi-variable item, we say the total cost is equal to, this is semi-variables, variable cost. We say that this cost here, if total cost, is composed of the fixed cost element or component, and then a variable component. The variable component is given by the variable cost per unit times the number of units. Number of units or the level of activity. That's a semi-variable. So whenever you're given information, double information like the way it is here, you're supposed to use the high-low. Remember our high-low method? High-low method of separating fixed costs and variable costs. High-low method of separating variable and fixed items. So the high-low says that you come and look for the high cost. So we are on maintenance. So the high cost is 1.5. Okay, if you make the formula the way it's supposed to be, the formula is such that you have a high cost minus low cost divide by it's not really high activity minus low activity. It's rather the activity at high cost minus activity at low cost. That's what I'm trying to put across. Okay. So we substitute there for maintenance. For maintenance, saying for maintenance, what's the high cost? Okay, by doing this, by the way, you're trying to get the variable cost. This high-low method here. As you do it, the whole aim of doing this high minus thing, you're trying to get the variable cost per unit only. The figure you get will be the high cost per unit. Okay, so if you have to continue, so we substitute. For maintenance, we're saying it is 1.5 minus 1.1. This whole thing divided by the activities respectively. So you had 1,000, then you have 600. Okay, then you get the final answer or the answer. Okay, so if I just get the answer from here, we're saying this minus that, you get this. Then 400, 1,000 minus 600, you get 4,000. Okay, and then officially our variable cost per unit is going to be equal to what's above divided by what's down, which is 1,000. So our variable cost per unit is 1,000. Okay, now our task is to determine now the fixed cost of this item, because this is the formula, or this is the whole thing. Is that the formula for semi-variable? Yes, Brandon, it's what you're doing. The formula for semi-variable is actually this one here, this. That thing that is in bold. Okay, that's the formula for what? For semi-variable, this one here. That's the formula. So our task is always to get the variable cost per unit, and then the fixed cost. So when you have the variable and the fixed cost, the number of units, remember, changes. Okay, when you're flexing, the number of units always change so that you get the total cost. Okay. So we have obtained our variable cost. We have it as 1,000. Now our next task is to get the total fixed cost. I mean the fixed cost, sorry, which is the total. So therefore, what we do is you come and choose out any line here from these two classes. You can choose this one or this. So let me go with the first one. So the first one, which is 1,000, 1M point thingy, 1M. This total cost here comprises a fixed cost that I don't know about, okay, plus the variable cost which you have just obtained, times the number of units. The number of units are known that they're 600 as far as this one is concerned. So therefore, what's our fixed cost? Shall say 1 M100 is going to be equal to our fixed cost plus this times that, you'll get 600,000. And so when the other one crosses the equal signs, 600, you'll be left with 500 as the fixed cost. So officially, the maintenance cost, okay, this semi-variable here, its total cost is given by the fixed cost, which is 500,000, plus the variable cost, which you know it is 1,000, times the number of units. Any number of units that you put will be our number of units. Okay, so you can test this for 600. If you put 600 here, you must get 1.1. If you put 1,000 under number of units, you must get 1.5. That's how it works. So therefore, how about when the number of units is 800? Okay, so I'm saying when 800 units, we're saying the total cost is going to be equal to the fixed cost, which is still 500, the variable cost, which is 1,000, times the number of units which have changed are now 800. So our total cost in terms of maintenance, we're saying it is 800 plus 500, that will be 1.3. Yeah. So that is your cost officially that you bring here under semi-variable. 1.3. Okay. You have seen some other questions. They don't give you. Okay, shall see that. Shall try to see again another example on power and fuel. So for now, you can ask any questions regarding this. I see if I can explain those. Then you also try out power. Where did you use? Where did I use? Why did I use? Esther, I will go to a new question, but we are saying that 1,000 from it. Think about this one here. It is the variable cost. We are saying that for this formula here, total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. For maintenance, we have information regarding their high cost and the low cost and the activities. So we are able to obtain the cost per unit in this equation. We are able to obtain it by using this formula. That's how you get it. Okay. Of course, there's another alternative where you use simultaneous equations. Okay, but this one is the shortest and the easiest to get. And therefore, our variable cost per unit is 1,000. Okay. So I don't know if I've answered you, Esther, in that regard. Because we're saying now for this formula, if I try out any total cost that I had that I've used here. So here, you remember we used 1.5 and 1.1. I'm taking the lower one, but you can use the higher one. So 1.1, we're saying at 1.1, the total cost here was given by a fixed cost, which I don't know yet, plus the variable cost, which is this 1,000 here. Okay, then times the number of units, and now units are 600 as far as 1.1 is concerned. Esther, I hope I've answered you. Where have you gotten the? They are given in the question, Trudy. Okay, they are given here. These ones are level of activity. Okay, it's in the question. Say that at the capacity, this is capacity, not item. Capacity. The capacity of 60%, they gave you 600 as units and 1,000 at 100%. So this is the level of activity. It was given in the question. So I hope I've answered you still on that one, as far as 1,600 is concerned. Then is that what is normally done when you go across? Yes, as long as the question is the same as this one. Okay? As long as the question is similar to this one, where you have two sets of budget figures at different levels. That's how we go about it, always. Okay, I met another question. The other question doesn't have two, doesn't have this and this. It only has only one set. Now, when you have only one set, they always give you information regarding. They'll tell you this is variable, this is semi, this is fixed. So when it is semi, they will tell you clearly that maybe that for example, maintenance, they'll tell you it is composed of a fixed cost of 2.5 and a variable cost per unit of 3 shillings. You have seen that. So where the question is like that, it means that they've already given you the formula, this one here, which we computed for us. Where direct it? This one. Okay. They always give you this information. They will tell you that the total cost is comprising of fixed cost of 500 and a variable per unit of 1,000. So they will give you this formula. Okay. So Esther, I hope we're together as far as that is concerned for semi-variable. First scroll down. Okay. There you go. That's the last part. Yes, put up there. Okay, allow me finish this for this link closes. Brandon, sorry about that. Now for fixed cost, you know, just remain the same. 4M, you bring 4M. 1M, you get 1M. You have another semi-variable cost here. You do the same thing. Let's put it here. We're saying high, which is 2M, minus low, which is 1,600. Divided by the level of activity. At that, it is 1,000 minus 600. Okay, so what do I get? I'll get this minus that, then down still 400. Still the same, they're similar. Down 400. So therefore, my variable cost still getting it as 1,000. Okay, now it's not worked out well. But that is, so if you have 1,000, okay, it's very similar, but no problem. You can still complete. So we're saying, if I now I'm going to use the high one, which is 2M. We're saying our formula is this one here. Hence, 2 million equal to a fixed cost, which I don't know yet, plus a variable cost, which is per unit, which is 1M, times the number of units at that level, which is 1,000 in this case. Okay, so therefore 2M fixed cost plus so be still 1M. Therefore, fixed cost must be equal to 1M. So meaning that at the level of 800 units, my total cost must be equal to the fixed cost, which is 1M, plus the variable cost 1M, plus the variable component, which is having a variable cost per unit of 1M,